Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel today for another movie review. Damien and I today are going to be reviewing the new film Novocaine, which is coming to theaters March 14th, brought to you by Paramount Pictures. We both obviously had a chance to check out an advanced screening of this film, and I would start off first by saying I had low expectations. I thought Paramount did a great job in marketing it. I think they rolled out the full package, so it was definitely out there. But sometimes I will say, when I feel like there's such a over what's the word I'm looking for here, when there seems to be like way too much marketing, I tend to think there's a measure of conversation about what the film might be. And I don't know why, because sometimes a lot of marketing can be very good, you know, the likes of like Deadpool and Barbie. But like for this one, I was just kind of like, this film went from like nothing to 100 very quick in the last week or so. And I was like, oh boy. But then there's Jack Quaid, who I got to say that I like the things he does. I don't love most of what he do. I think from The Boys, you're like, cool, but he's overshadowed by so many other fantastic actors left and right, and he fits his role perfectly. I think he's an amazing baby face. And then you look at him as a lead, you're just like, okay, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm fully on board with it, but I'll, you know, what's the worst that can happen? I think that's ultimately where I went to this film. I was just kind of like, all right, let's check it out. No expectation. What can go wrong? Well, I got to be honest, a lot went right. This was a very, very fun film. This got me excited to be a critic. This got me excited to be going to the theaters. It's that feeling when you're wrong and you're happy you're wrong, and when you had low expectation, maybe the vibe wasn't perfectly aligned to go into it, but I damn sure left out like, wow, that was such a fun film, a true popcorn flick. It meshed between so many different genres, but ultimately it was just a fun, brutal, comedic love story action flick. All the genres, all at different paces of the film, but certainly a good time and definitely worth the time. So I would certainly go off by saying that go check this one out. Absolutely. Check it out with your partner. Check it out with your friends. Check it out alone. It is certainly a film that you will enjoy. And I would add one more thing. If you do have an opportunity to check this out, because I said it's a popcorn flick. So if you do have one of those sort of luxury film experiences, such as like the Alamo or anything that does sort of like the catering aspect or bringing you the food, I think it's the perfect film for it. I totally think this is the film you truly want to kick back, enjoy. In fact, it's good. And when it gets to streaming, I think it's going to still hold up just as good. One of those films where you're going to put on when you're in the house, you're going to have a great meal around it and kicking back on a Friday night, you enjoy it. But certainly you want to go out to the theaters and watch this one. I enjoyed it. I'm done talking. How about you, sir?
So I'm with you on this came out of nowhere. I heard about it maybe 2.5, 3 weeks ago, something along those lines. And then the marketing, as you said, just ramped up. And I'm thinking, since when does Jack Quaid do action by himself, right? Like you said, with The Boys, he does have that white meat baby face in wrestling terms, that, you know, that he just has that aw shucks vibe about him as Huey on The Boys. But seeing him in this realm totally took my expectations and put it on its head. I had the most lowest of expectations, like you said. I was actually dreading going to the screening. I had a long day at work. I was thinking, I really want to see Jack Quaid on the big screen without any of The Boys. So I dragged myself. Thankfully, the theater's like 8 minutes from my apartment, so it wasn't that much of a trudge. But the minute I sat down and, you know, you see the graphic, right? The intro graphic to the movie where he's spoofing the Operation character. Stab mark here, stun gun here, like things like that. It reminded me of nostalgia, because you all know, especially you know I love nostalgia. So it reminded me of, oh, he's a living, breathing Operation character. And as the film plays out, It was so dumb. It was good. Like that's one of the best ways I could put it. It was nonsensical. It was visceral in some of the ways that the character dealt with having no feeling in anything whatsoever. I've never been shot with a nail gun or burnt myself with hot grease, but I wouldn't recommend it based on what I've seen in this film. It does go from 0 to 100 rather quickly. And then there's like a little mini dun 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 moment about maybe halfway through the film that you're not expecting. And immediately I scream out, "Oh, hell no!" Like, I literally screamed, and the whole theater screamed at the same part. And just to see the way the story continued, because the writing itself, I was impressed. And we can talk about the writing as well. Just the way this was scripted out. You mentioned the multi-genre touching of the bases. And yeah, they did. You know, if you like rom-coms, there's something in it for you. If you like mindless action, akin to Michael Bay, you'll like this. If you like stuff with a who done it, will they, won't they kind of vibe, you'll like that too. And there's some, I hate using the term, there's something for everyone. But in this film, surprisingly, there is definitely something for everyone. And immediately after I left the theater, I told the reps outside the theater, I need me a sequel now.
Agreed. Yeah, here's my thing. There's no telling when this was filmed in the sense of Jack Quaid's recent releases, but like if you look at his previous performances from Companion to The Boys we mentioned, it's like you took a little bit of everything that he's done recently and put it all in this film, and he just does it well. But really quickly to talk about what this film is about, because you kind of danced around a little bit, is Jack plays his character Novocaine. He's just a bank guy, and at home he's an introvert. He games with his homies. You know, he has, you know, minimum friends, but like they're friends, and I relate to that. Like as a gamer, like, you know, you got friends that you've never met, but they're your friends and whatnot. I'm not going to give anything else about that away. But he ends up getting a girlfriend, and he's like, holy hell, like I got a girlfriend, and it's somebody that truly complements his life. So there's like the love story aspect that you easily buy into. This character is Sherry, played by Amber Midthunder. She's amazing in this film, by the way. But she gets kidnapped during the bank robbery, and you know, all bets are off now. He's like, man, listen, a guy like me getting a girlfriend, but not only just a girlfriend, but like somebody that truly do compliment me. I'm going to get her by any means necessary. He happens to be a pseudo superhero because he does have a measure of I don't know if this is considered a condition or autoimmune, but he has the inability to feel pain. So that's that. He's going back to get his girlfriend, and as I mentioned, in the most craziest satirical way, it's a love story, action thriller. I don't know, a lot more other stuff in there as well too. Mystery. It's all in there, and I love the fact that it's shot in San Diego. San Diego is one of my favorite cities, so just the beautiful backdrop of San Diego while they're ripping and running through the city. But you're going to get some laughs. It's silly, but yet it stays grounded. And then with all of the different genres that they do touch upon, I also thought they did a really good job in balancing all of that, which is something that it really takes a lot of magic to do. I've seen two genres horribly combine them in a sense of a tone that complements one another. The sort of the what's the word I'm looking for here? How the continuity between the two of them, like the fact that like they bounce around all of it. Because when it's silly, it's silly. It's to the point where you almost don't even take it serious. But then the moment when you really want to let go and say, let me remove my brain from this, it is one of those type of films. Then the craziness comes in. Then you're automatically plugged back into like, oh my God. And then the plot starts to ramp up. And then I have to say, there's about 2 to maybe 3 very significant twists in the film that I thought they executed very well, which is why I look at you and say, I absolutely want a sequel based on the events of the film and the twists that are at hand. But then production wise, like, I really fell in love with a couple of scenes. There was a glass shattering moment. I thought that was really, really cool. Very brutal at that. And like, let's not get it twisted. Jack Quaid is no action star.
Not at all.
But he made this role fun. But he is definitely not going to be in any Expendables film. Like he's not that person. But then, like again, there was this glass shattering moment I really love, and then I think the funniest scene of the entire film is where he's sort of strapped in the chair, and this is the adult brutal version of Home Alone. And the fact they even mentioned Home Alone, I wrote it in my notes. I was like, this is Home Alone. And he was like, yeah, this is Home Alone. I was like, yes, we agree, you know. I thought they definitely really brought out some very good moments in terms of the production, but just utilizing the space. But I will have to be honest about some of the things I really didn't like really quickly. And I thought the star power that's involved, underutilized. I think, you know, Jacob Batalon, you know, from Spider-Man and whatnot, also recently engaged. Congratulations to the guy. He's a really cool guy. I think he's nothing more than a cameo in here. He's in it probably 5 to 10 minutes and he makes the best of it. But I'm just like, you put Jacob in the film and you're only going to use 10 minutes? I don't know about that one. I will say Ray Nicholson, who is your villain in this. I thought they utilized him in a way I've never even seen him use, which is kind of like, great, we got something going on here. On the opposite end, we have Betty Gabriel, who just somehow, some way always ends up being a cop. Underutilized. She was in it for probably 10 to 15 minutes. So I just thought that, you know, from up and down the board. And how about Lou Betty Jr.? I mean, legendary. 5 minutes, maybe. You know, I thought they could have gave us a little bit more. Matt Walsh is in this as well too, also complimenting Betty in a very minimal role. I think for all the star power at hand, I would have used them a little bit more, but that's no shade towards Jack and Amber, who carries this film. If they don't do what they do, it just doesn't work.
No, you're absolutely right. That's actually one of my biggest complaints, is that the side characters could have been used a lot more immersively than just props for the plot, right? You know, we have characters acting like, you know, detectives who are just too old for this shit kind of thing. Like, oh, I'm too old for this. It's Christmas, because it's set in Christmas, right? Christmas time. So everyone, that's when you watch the movie, they keep mentioning the term "everyone's a little thin." Now, if you've worked a job during holidays, you know you're really stretched thin, because there's moments in the movie you're like, aren't there any other cops in San Diego? and on top of that, you're thinking, these are the only cops we have on beat in San Diego? Like, come on, man. No one's that thin in a police force. But, okay, so I will admit, I did not know that Ray Nicholson was Jack's son. I did not. I have not followed his previous work. And I gotta say, that man took his genetics from his dad in this role to a plum. I never, dude, I thought I was watching Jack in The Shining kind of way, the way he flipped from like normal to psychotic to I got this to you're ruining my vibe, man. There's so many emotions in the span of, let's say, 10 seconds. And that boy is scary. And I loved it. I love the fact that he could turn psychoses on and off just like that. And I forgot Amber Midthunder was in the Prey movie. She was the main star of Prey. And I'm like, wait a minute, you have another action star, let's be honest, in an action movie. You could have used her in a little bit more action-y set pieces. I know she was the kidnapped person, the damsel in distress, but we established early in the film, she's anything but a damsel in distress. Going from that opening bar scene with her, you know, with the other dude who was being a douche to Novocaine, as it was.
Yeah.
And just, they left a little bit on the table. And I know it's a popcorn movie, like we said, and I know it's one of those because it reminded me of Crank. It reminded me of those kinds of movies, high octane, 0 to 60, like we said. Yeah. But you left something on the table. And I feel that's what stops this from reaching a higher level of the film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lou Beatty in the film, Lou Beatty Jr. in the film, and 5 minutes max, and I'm just like, come on now. But with that being said, truly, I'm gonna give my rating. Last I want to say, if You have a low threshold for pain tolerance. Watching this film will, in fact,
Me.
be hard on the stomach, because the fact that he can't feel pain, they did some of the typical things you would expect, but they absolutely got very unique in some of the things they did. There was a couple of moments I was like, "That's very cool.
Yeah.
That was unique. Did not expect that coming." Um, so if you have a pain sensitivity,
Or weak
just be
stomach.
it will be hard to watch. There's no if and a buts. And I also thought the fact that like this is very an engaging film. So watching this and necessarily thinking that the crowd's going to kind of sit silent throughout some of the events of everything, doubt it. So be prepared to have one of those audiences, which is why I think again, good popcorn film, good Friday night with the partner, the friend, solo, whatever it is, it's engaging. You will enjoy. But that being said, I enjoyed the film. I usually don't give grades, but like this is certainly a watch. This is certainly a watch in theaters. This is probably I would say a own or stream, a rewatch at home, a go tell somebody to go watch it, because with everything that I was concerned about, the low expectations went in there and had a hell of a fun time. I thought the jokes landed. I thought the puns landed. I thought the character works were good. You know, the star power while they were there, they utilized those small moments, which I wish they would have did a lot more with. But hey, that's why I said sequels, because sometimes you introduce folks for, you know, long-term storytelling, which I'm perfectly fine with, you know, I feel like Jacob is like Mr. King sequel himself. Like you always kind of slide him in there one moment, and that's, you know, he's like a pivotal character going forward. And then Jack, man, as your lead, again, very was not my expectations that he could be somebody that can carry a action film, but I was wrong because it's not an action film. It's multiple films. He just did Companion, so it's like, okay, I guess that kind of works as well too with this. In a very gender bending film, I thought he did a great job. He's still no action star, but like it was definitely enjoyable to watch, and I can't wait to see what cooks up next if they decide to do a sequel. And again, just shout out to Amber. Ray did a fantastic job as the villains. We had a couple of other villains I thought had some good moments. Fight choreography was unique as hell.
Yes.
And they had to do it the way they had to do it because you had to play around with the pain tolerance thing. Certainly a good time. So yeah, get ready because you're gonna get it all. You're gonna get unique. I thought you had some very good shots, some very good scenes. As I said, keep an eye out for that Home Alone scene that I'm talking about. This glass shattering moment I thought was really cool. Very much a homage to some of the legendary action stars. Like, did he really do that? Like, did he really deepen his kung fu back here? Like, it's insane, folks. But it is truly about how far somebody would go for love. That's what you can learn.
I don't know if I go that far, man. I'm good. I don't know, man.
Closing thoughts, sir.
Okay, closing thoughts. He's the most awkward action star ever in this film. It's what normal folk think they would be if they had superpowers, right? And doing completely wrong. And because he's so ho-hum and aw shucks. And you're thinking, there's no way. Like, you know this is a film because it's like the nice guy that just happens to fall into all the positive scenarios, even though they're death-defying. I do love the gags, the sight gags, the way that, like, for instance, how to write down the addresses when he didn't have a piece of paper. I thought that was pretty interesting. If you watch Hot Shots Part 2, if you're my age, with the whole glass on the hands, on the knuckles, I thought that was cool. And just there was a couple of just one-line zingers where you're just thinking, oh, this is actually a lot funnier than I thought it was going to be. Because I mentioned it to the reps. I said I haven't laughed this hard in years, because it was such a surprising film to enjoy that my laugh button was reminiscent of the Rush Hour series, specifically Rush Hour 2. And just, I want to see more. And kudos to Jack Quaid for proving me wrong. And if you really go see this movie, I am the one you're speaking of when it comes to weak stomach I don't have any tattoos. I can't stand to see too much blood and gore. There's one of the last injury scenes is really graphic, and I yelled out, "Oh hell, effing no!" And the poor senior citizens sitting next to me and in front of me, they had to like cover their eyes. They were like, like shock and awe. So if you're one of those people, be prepared to peek through with your fingers a little bit. Aside from that, again, really good movie. I want to see more. And the ending, we won't spoil it, but it does leave the door open potentially for another movie, potentially with all the characters, well, a couple of the characters still maintaining, specifically Jack Quaid and Amber Midthunder, who had better chemistry than I thought they would. So go watch it. I recommend this. Go watch it.
Amazing. Novocaine, folks, come to theaters March 14th. Jump in the comments. Let us know your thoughts, your excitement. And after you do check it out, definitely just come back here and let us know if we got this one right. Was it worth the watch? Or had you preferred to wait till it came out on streaming? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, folks. We'll see y'all back for more reviews and content here at Big O Built Media very soon. Appreciate you watching.